And we had Amelia McDowell from Toorak College doing a forward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. We're at the finals of the GSV diving. This is the junior event. Ella Robinson doing a forward dive. So it's just 3 groups of dives that the girls have to choose. A forward dive pike there, slightly over. Got Bridie Davison doing a forward 1.5 somersaults. And a lovely entry on the dive there. Just off the 3 metre springboard here, Lily French from Sacre-Cœur doing a forward 2.5 somersaults, and that's the first bigger dive that we've seen, just slightly over on the entry. Have to remember the girls haven't really been training all that much, but there's no crowd here either, which will be affecting their diving, but they have been warming up prior. Got Millie Anderson. For 2.5 somersaults in the pike position, another big degree of difficulty of 2.4. We've got 5 judges sitting on the pool deck, an average of 4.5s, 5s. Got Evie English from Toorak College. Forward 2.5 somersaults and really nicely done, a beautiful pike position. Should get some good scores, around 6. So the girls did have to qualify for this event. Forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. They competed in the prelim carnival, which was a combined swimming and diving event. Then they went into Division 1, 2 and 3, and then top 10 divers in the junior, intermediate and seniors made it to the GSV finals. And we have Sophie Knights here doing a forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Really lovely diving. And the event's moving quite quickly, actually. Normally there's a bit more room to breathe for the divers in between, but got 3 events to go through. So we've got Caitlin Murphy also doing a forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Lovely pike position, and just looking at the water and nice and vertical. So the judges' scores will come up. The top and the bottom score will be eliminated. The remaining 3 scores will be added together and multiplied by the degree of difficulty, and that's how they get the total. So we have Tash Matter doing a back dive off the 1 metre springboard, a back dive straight. Just had to look slightly back more on the entry, but a lovely looking dive. Got Ella Robinson also doing a back dive straight. Just have to choose 3 groups of dives, and the girls do a total of 4 dives. And a really nice entry, maybe just leaning back away from the board a little bit too much, but some lovely form for Ella. forward somersault, so landing feet first with a degree of difficulty of 1.5 and getting 5.5s across the board for Xanthi. Got Bridie Davison doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position off the 1 metre springboard. A nice start, just slightly short of vertical. Another inward 1.5 somersault, so perhaps a direct comparison for the judges. So facing towards the board and rotating back towards the board, so she'll have to get her hips up. And really nicely done. So we are in round 2 now with Millie Anderson doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. And a nice entry. So the degree of difficulty is calculated off a table. And the girls will enter their dives before the competition of what they're going to compete. They are able to change them, but there's a time limit in which they can change them. So I've got Evie English doing a back 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. And it's always harder to spot the water when you're rotating backwards, but that was a very nice dive. Got an inward 1.5 somersault in the tuck position here. Really tight tuck position and a nice entry. So it's the 21st year that Girls Sports Victoria has been having these finals events. Obviously missed last year with COVID. It's a bit of adjustment for everyone. And an inward 2.5 somersaults for Sophie Knights here. Really nice dive, and that had a really high degree of difficulty. So Sophie is an experienced diver. She trains a lot of hours outside of just term 1 sport. Getting 5.5s and 6s from the judges. The first of the twisting dives we've seen from Caitlin with a forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist. And a nice dive to finish round 2. With Sophie Knights actually in first position, with Xanthi bringing out the field. And we're commencing round 3 now, so the girls will do 4 dives. It's a very quick final. With Tash Matter off the 1 metre springboard doing an inward dive. And a really nice dive. Scoring 7s and 6.5s for her vertical entry. Got Ella Robinson doing another inward dive. Degree of difficulty 1.4. but in the tuck position this time. So a little bit more distance away from the board, but a nice vertical entry for 6s and 7s. Got Xanthi doing a back somersault straight, so she will enter the water feet first. Try and keep a straight position through her entire somersault. Perhaps a bit of a gymnastics background. More comfortable entering the water feet first. Got Bridie also landing feet first, doing a forward double somersault tuck in the tuck. Double somersault in the tuck position, sorry. And really nice, just getting her arms by her side, and that's what the judges like to see. Next up, we've got Lily French from Sacre-Cœur. Very nice back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist, and Sacre-Cœur is a very good diving school with Annabelle Smith, who is a dual Olympian, having gone to Sacre-Cœur. I believe she still holds the record for the diving competition. Got Millie Anderson doing back 1.5 somersaults with half twist also. And another really nice vertical entry. So diving is considered a Term 1 sport for Girls Sport Victoria. So of course, there's the senior competition, who are in grades 11 and 12. Got Evie English doing back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists, so an extra twist on Evie's dive. We have Natasha on the 1 metre springboard, doing back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist. And really nicely done. So some of the girls will do diving outside of just the school extracurricular. Of course, Girls School Victoria organises all the major carnivals and weekly sports for 24 independent schools. We have Sophie, who has done very well in this competition, back 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. Beautiful entry, beautiful form from Sophie. Getting some 8s. So the 5.5 obviously didn't like it, but that will get knocked off as it's not within it's at the bottom range, and the top score will also get cut off as well. So we've got Caitlin Murphy doing an inward 1.5 somersaults from Strathcona. Lovely pike position. Had her head all the way to her knees. Showed really good flexibility. And that does conclude round 3. So we still have Sophie Knights in first position on 143 points. It's a really good quality final for the divers. They obviously missed a lot of training last year. And this year it's unusual circumstances still, but it's just fantastic to see everyone participating and life going back to normal. So Tash Matter doing a reverse dive, starting round 4. Reverse dive straight, slightly over on her entry. That's one of the scarier dive groups you can do. So reverse, facing forward, travelling back towards the board, but nicely done. Got Ella Robinson doing a forward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. And a good way for her to finish the competition as well. Got Xanthi doing a back somersault 1 twist. So we'll land on her feet. And another gymnastics / trampolining type dive. So obviously very good acrobatic skills. Just scoring 5s, perhaps an over twist on the bottom, but really nice way to finish the competition. Got Bridie Davidson from Sacré-Cœur doing a back somersault with a half twist. So again, landing on her feet. Nice vertical entry. It's really hard with feet first entries to impress the judges, but that was very well done. Got Lily French doing a back 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. And teetering the board for a long time just gives her a bit more power. Just a little bit short of vertical. It's obviously a dive that may worry her, so she will be happy with that. Got Millie Anderson on the 3-metre springboard doing a back dive pike. She's ranked 5th at the moment. Touching her toes and a beautiful entry. Yeah, she should be happy with that, scoring 7s and 7.5s. Got Evie English doing it in with 1.5 somersaults. And a great way to finish. So 15,000 girls participate in GSV with 20 weekly sports. And few of the schools actually have aquatic centres, which is great to see. So PLC has a aquatic centre. Got Natasha doing a forward 1.5 somersaults with 1 twist. Slightly over-rotated. She was going into that competition ranked 3rd. So pretty high degree of difficulty, but a good way to finish. Sophie Knight's finishing her 4th round with a back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist. She had a great competition so far. And a really lovely way to finish. She should be really happy. We've got Caitlin Murphy doing a back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. Just slightly short of vertical. Just needed a bit more power coming out of the board. And that does conclude our seniors competition. A really quick event for the girls, with Sophie Knights coming first, Evie English from Toorak College in second position, and Natasha rounding out the top 3. But a really good event. It's been strange times for everyone, and it's just good to see the girls participating, back doing sport, back competing. There's a really good atmosphere with the girls. On the pool deck, there's obviously no crowd watching here, but they're all supporting each other. There's some judges here, their coaches are here. It's just good to have everyone back on pool deck. There'll just be a little bit of a break before we go into our next event. So we've got about 10 minutes before the intermediate competition starts, and they're just announcing the girls on pool deck now. We may take a little bit of a break and rejoin you when the competition commences. Got the intermediate competition starting now for GSV finals. We've got Hannah Graham kicking off the event with a forward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position off the 1 metre springboard. Getting 5.5s and 6s from the judges. Evans from Mentone Girls Grammar School doing a forward 1.5 in the pike position. Just getting 4.5s. Got Ellen McDermott from Sacré-Cœur doing a forward 1.5 somersault in the pike position off the 3 metre springboard. And a nice dive. It is getting, I guess, quite late here at MSAC, Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. Got the intermediate final for GSV. The girls have qualified for this. Got Chloe Nichols from MLC doing a forward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position off the 1 metre. She gets 7s from the judges and 6.5. So top score is eliminated, bottom score is eliminated. They're added together and they're multiplied by the degree of difficulty. We now have Penelope Waymark from MLC on the 3 metre springboard. Really nice dive, actually. Great tuck position, getting 6.5s and 6s from the judges. And this event moves quite quickly, so there's not a lot of time to breathe in between rounds. The girls are doing 4 rounds. They have to pick from 3 groups out of forward, backward, inward, reverse and twist. So you can repeat a group in this event. We've got Penelope, no we don't, we've got forward 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position from Mia. We've got Giselle from Furbank Grammar School, who is a very famous diving school. Beautiful entry for her forward dive pike. Quite low in degree of difficulty, but she did score 8s from the judges. We have Coco Marshall from Melbourne Girls Grammar. Doing forward 1.5 somersault in the pike position. A really lovely line going to the water. Perhaps just lost her legs on the entry just a touch. But getting 7.5s and 7s from the judges. The girls can elect to go off the 3 metre springboard or the 1 metre springboard as well. We have another 1.5 somersaults in the pike position from Amelia English from Toorak College. 5.5s and 6.5s from the judges. Diving is a Term 1 sport for GSV. But it does get great participation. And Sienna Cushion is doing an inward 1.5 somersault in the pike position. A nice dive. Five and a halves and 6s from the judges. Girls Sports Victoria was established in 2001 and is one of the largest independent school sporting associations in Victoria. 24 member schools from around Melbourne. Hannah Graham doing an inward dive in the pike position to start round 2. 5.5s and 6.5s, and Hannah was actually a late entry into this final with Jamie Lampard scrapping from Furbank Grammar. Of course, Elizabeth Howard coaches Furbank Grammar, and if I'm not mistaken, they have won the trophy for about the last 18 years in diving for this competition. Got Bridget Evans doing a back somersault with 1.5 twists, landing on getting 5s and 5.5s from the judges. Back up to the 3 metre with Ella McDermott. Back 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position, so she will spin backwards. She will see the water or the board, whatever she chooses to spot, and then she will reach back for the water. And a lot of room to do that dive. She did it well, just slightly losing her feet on the end, which the judges have picked up, and she gets 5s and 5.5s from the judges. See Chloe just adjusting the fulcrum there. That's how the divers adjust their bounce. They can get more power out of the board the further back the fulcrum is. Doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Facing back towards the board and then spinning in a tight tuck position. Some of the judges there would have seen a slight twist on the end, which is why the discrepancy in the scores. Got Penelope Waymark from MLC doing a forward double somersaults. Unfortunately, she's got a little bit lost in the air. It's very, very difficult doing a double. It's kind of blind and you come round and just had a little bit too much adrenaline and over-rotated for that one. Got Mia doing forward 1.5 somersaults with 1 twist. And a good entry. Just needed to be slightly tighter in her twist. But great to be competing in the finals, and 6s and 5.5s from the judges. Got Giselle down on the 1 metre doing an inward dive pike. DD of 1.5 from Furbank Grammar. What a fantastic entry, and her coach will be happy. The girls actually train at lunchtime. For these events, there's a pool at Furbank Grammar. And it is fantastic to see so many diving boards within Melbourne at schools that the girls can train at. Inward 1.5 somersaults, a really nice line going through the water. For Coco. Got Emily from Toorak College doing forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Strong dive, just a little bit too strong on the entry, over-rotating, but a really nice pike position. There was a lot to like about that dive. Unfortunately, it affects the judges when you do over-rotate, so 4.5s and 5.5s. Got Sienna Cushion from Furbank Grammar doing inward 2.5 somersaults. The degree of difficulty of 2.7. I think this is the highest DD that we have seen. So one of the more difficult dives. Really nice. She attacked that dive. It's always different in training than when you're actually competing, and the girls are a little bit out of practice with that. So Sienna Cushion is currently in first place in that event. We have two more rounds to go, so we're now commencing round 3. We've got Hannah Graham doing a back somersault straight, but she is just indicating to the referee that that's perhaps not the dive that she actually entered. So she's just going to discuss that with the referee, and that's her coach, Elizabeth Howard. Of course, she was a late entry into this final event, so perhaps there's been some kind of mix-up. So the diver is not allowed to actually... So the dive hasn't been changed. She's still going to do a back somersault straight. I'm not sure if that's the dive that she had intended to do, but it was the dive on the entry sheet, so she will do that. Very well done. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking when the dive on the scoreboard that you see in front of you isn't actually the dive that you intended to do. Just getting 4.5s and 5s there. We've got Brigida from Mentone Girls Grammar, who's coached by Angus McClarty, doing a back somersault straight. Really nice line, nice vertical entry. As far as back somersault straights goes, that was a pretty good one. Got Ella McDermott from Sacre-Cœur, coached by Natalie Koslov, who was a former diver. Still very involved in the diving world, doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position, 3-metre springboard. Really good effort. Getting 6s and 6.5s, so some of these girls would train all year round. Some of them will only do diving in term 1. Back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist for Chloe Nichols from MLC. And that is harder to get round than it looks on the 1-metre springboard. You don't have enough room, so well done, Chloe. Got Penelope from MLC as well, doing back 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. See her knee is heavily strapped. Just give her a bit more support. Just short of vertical. Perhaps she's missed her spot. It did travel a little bit back from the board. Just getting 3s and 4s from the judges. Got Mia from Corowa Anglican Girls' School. Coach is Shiori back. She's doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Really great sounding entry. Just over-rotated just slightly. Getting 5s and 6s from the judges, so that 7.5 will be knocked off. So will one of the 5s. Got Giselle from Furbank Grammar doing a back dive in the straight position. What a beautiful line from Giselle. She looked at her toes and then looked at the water, and that was a really beautiful entry. And I would have given it an 8.5. because I really liked it. So Coco Marshall from Melbourne Girls Grammar, back 1.5 somersaults. In the tuck position, 3 metre springboard. Just over-rotating slightly. Good Amelie from Turak College doing back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist. Well done to finish her 3rd round dive. Slight lag with the scores on our screen, but I can tell you she got 5.5s. There they are. Now we've got Sienna. So we've got a forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. She's done a great job so far. Just missing her entry slightly. Just put her head up a little bit too early, but that was such a nice looking pike position. She's still in first place, Sienna. The scores are going very quickly, so I am missing them slightly. So 10 divers who all qualified to be in this final of the intermediate GSV finals. They competed in a prelim carnival, which is combined swimming and diving, and then it was separated into divisions 1, 2 and 3, and then top 10 divers combined scores from those events made the final here tonight. So we've got Hannah Graham doing a forward somersault with 1 twist for her last and final round, getting 5s from the judges with a total score of 113.30. Got Brigida Evans doing a back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist from Mentone Girls Grammar. She's actually done 3 twisting dives, so she favours the twists. 2 twisting dives, sorry. Good, powerful dive. Strong diver. Getting 5.5s and 5s. Now we have Ella McDermott from Sacré-Cœur. I believe Annabelle Smith holds the record for the diving events. Just over-rotated, just missed her spot. It's always more difficult at night time to dive as the lights are quite glary at the top, so they glare on the water and sometimes you can lose your spot. So perhaps that's what happened there. We have Chloe Nichols doing a back double somersault. Landing on her feet. Beautiful spin. Really well done. And that's sometimes what we call a lead-up dive. So back double somersaults on 1 metre will become back 2.5 off 3 metre. But now we have Penelope on the 3 metre springboard doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. A lovely way to finish. It's a pretty nerve-wracking sport to compete diving. Everyone's looking at you and you only, unless you're doing synchronised, of course, but in this case, the spotlight is on Mia from Corowa Anglican Girls' School, finishing her final with a back 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Just missed her spot as well. Sometimes it's the adrenaline of a final. Feels a little bit different to training. Just pulling up 3s. But a lot of things to like about that dive. Got Giselle doing a reverse dive in the tuck position. Lovely entry. She has very, very nice lines going into the water. And her coach, Elizabeth Howard, would love that. She got an 8 for that. I like that one as well. Got Coco Marshall from Melbourne Girls Grammar doing a back dive pike. So she will reach up, touch her toes, and then look back for the water. Beautiful entry. Getting 8's fantastic. Got Emily from Toorak College doing inward 1.5 somersault in the pike position. Lovely sounding entry. Getting 6.5s, up to 7.5 from the judges. They liked it as well. And for Sienna's last dive, she is doing a back 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. Oh, well done. She's had a fantastic final at the GSV diving finals. Hasn't missed a beat. So well done, Sienna. So we'll just bring up the results now for this event. And I can tell you that Sienna Cushion has taken out first place from Furbank Grana. And we will get the rest of the scores shortly for you. But a really good event from the girls. So there's 4 dives in each final. We do have the junior girls to go. There are some people in the crowd, but I think there's just a 10-minute wait, so we will come back to the junior event shortly. We're just here at Girls Sports Victoria finals night. We've got the juniors competition up next. So they're just finishing off their warm-ups. It's been a fantastic night of diving, actually. We've had the seniors compete and the intermediates compete. Of course, we've got the juniors who are in grade 7 and 8 from various independent schools across Melbourne, hosted by Girls Sports Victoria, which is School Sports Association for 24 independent girls' schools. They organise the major carnivals, they've got weekly sports, they've got events, rep team programs. And diving is, of course, a Term 1 sport. So a lot of these girls will only have exposure to diving in Term 1, but a lot of them also have squad training, and they may train in this very pool at Melbourne Sports Centre, previously called Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre. It's actually the pool that hosted the 2006 Commonwealth Games. So a world-class venue. We'll see the juniors compete in. They had a prelim carnival that was combined swimming and diving, and then went into divisions 1, 2 and 3. And then the top 10 from the divisions competition have made the relevant finals for their age group. First up in the juniors, we've got Amelia McDowell doing a forward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position off the 1 metre springboard. And really nicely done, and I can tell already that Amelia probably does gymnastics by her form. 5.5s, it's really nice lines. The girls just have to choose 3 groups of dives. Some are doing forward 1.5 somersault pike. There are a lot of similarities between diving and gymnastics. The main difference being diving, you go head first into the water more often than not, and gymnastics, you will be wanting to land on your feet. But a lot of divers do come over from gymnastics or trampolining. We've got Liliana just adjusting the fulcrum for a forward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position from MLC. And a nice dive. It's always a bit nerve-wracking doing your first dive. As I've mentioned before, the spotlight's just on you. Everyone's watching and just getting used to what the air feels like, what the water feels like. You might get a little bit cold. We've got Ella Bailey here from Furbank doing a forward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. We've had Furbank Grammar have an amazing contingent in the final with lots of girls competing. Got Coco Taylor from Melbourne Girls Grammar. Forward 1.5 somersaults pike. Really beautiful pike position, just slightly shorter vertical. She's got 5s and 4.5 is the lowest. That will get knocked off, as will the 5.5. Get added together and multiplied by the degree of difficulty. It's got Amber Ward doing forward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. Just a 1-step hurdle there, so perhaps just getting used to diving. 5s, 5.5s from the judges. Really well done. And again, Megan from Mentone, forward 1.5 somersaults. Pike position, great pike position, good dive. And a lot of these girls that have tried out gymnastics before, the hardest thing that will be for them is actually getting used to the springboard. But that's fantastic scoring. Got Alice doing forward 2.5 somersaults. Really big degree of difficulty, fantastic dive. Really strong looking dive from Lauriston Girls' School. What great scores. Got Paige on the 1 metre, just with a 1-step hurdle. Forward 1.5 somersaults, pike position. Great form in the air, just lacking a little bit on her entry, but a good dive to start. Got Lucy from Shelford Girls Grammar doing a forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Wow. And the junior divers are really doing well in the first round. She gets an 8.5 as a top score. We're already into round 2 with Amelia from Toorak College doing an inward dive in the tuck position. Very nicely done. She is coached by Georgie Chambers and Elissa Byrne. 6s across the boards, and it's not often the judges all agree with each other. We have Summer from Camberwell's Girls Grammar School, who is coached by Jenny Donnett, very famous 4-time Olympic diver, doing a back dive straight off the 3 metre springboard, and her coach will like that. Liliana from Methodist Ladies College doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. You'll see some of the girls doing this off the 3 metre springboard. Liliana's doing it off the 1 metre springboard. Less room to finish her rotations. Just slightly short of vertical, unfortunately. But it is a very hard dive to get your head around because you are facing backwards and spinning towards the board, so she was wanting to get as much distance as possible, just leaving it short. Ella Bailey from Furbank Grammar for a double somersault, very well done. 2 somersaults landing on her feet, and she should be happy with that. We have Coco Taylor from Melbourne Girls Grammar, inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Beautiful dive. She's piked out of that very, very nicely. The judges are going to like that. So top mark of 8 and 7.5. So a lot of these girls will have, this will be their first GSV final. So it's quite nerve-wracking. can be very nerve-wracking. For double somersault for Amber Ward from MLC. And MLC does have a very strong gymnastics program as well, and by the style of her hurdle, say she'd be transitioning to diving, just trying it out. But a great spin by Amber. We've got Megan doing back 1.5 somersaults with a half twist. It's a lot of dive to squeeze in off the 1 metre springboard, but she did that very well. Got Alice from Lauriston Girls doing a back 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. Just a very pretty looking dive. She has great form in her pike position. Just needed to look back slightly more for the water, but a good score. She should be happy. Got Paige Gillam doing a reverse dive. She's also from MLC, so perhaps another gymnast doing a 1-step hurdle. Just learning. What a fantastic entry. And it's not as easy as it looks getting an entry like that. She was rewarded by the judges. Got Lucy from Shelford Girls Grammar doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the pike position. Lovely diving by Lucy. In her first GSV final, getting 7s. We can see the scoreboard here. It is very quick competition for GSV junior girls. And the girls would probably prefer it that way, just because when you're waiting around for a long time in between dives, you can get very, very cold. So you don't want that to happen in a diving event. Got Amelia with her round 3 dive, a back somersault straight. Just over rotating really slightly, but some good things in the dive, very good body position. Fortunately, the end does matter, so the judges have penalised her just slightly. Got Summer doing a reverse dive. 1-step hurdle in the tuck position, and very well done. So the girls that are doing 1-step hurdles will build up to doing 3-step hurdles. And that will just allow them to get more power out of the board. We should see a strong dive here from Liliana for 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. Very good save, but she was in all sorts of trouble on her hurdle. She was just hanging 10, what we call in the diving world. Couldn't generate enough power, and unfortunately she's gotten 3.5s from the judges, but I think she did a fantastic job in saving what could have been a more disastrous dive. We've got Ella Bailey doing inward 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Very nice entry. As close to vertical as you can get. 6s and 6.5s from the judges. Got Coco Taylor from Melbourne Girls Grammar doing a back dive tuck. One metre springboard. Beautiful entry, just looking back to the water and getting a beautiful entry and bringing up some 8s and even an 8.5. So the judges do get excited when they see good dives as well. Got Amber from MLC doing a back double somersault in the tuck position. Well done. Really good spin. Nice good tuck position. And nice and vertical. Judges sometimes don't know what to do with feet first entries. Got Megan doing an inward 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Beautiful diving. So this may even be some of the girls' first final dives. They've obviously been in the prelim carnival and qualified for this event in divisions 1, 2 and 3. Made the top 10, but there's a lot of camaraderie between the girls. Can't get that out quite with Alice doing an inward 1.5 somersaults. So they're all supporting each other on pool deck, and it's really lovely to see. They want to do well for each other. Just a little bit short of vertical. Got Paige from MLC doing an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. MLC's coach is Olivia Kloss. Lovely entry, and her coach will be happy with that. So as the junior girls have only come into diving this term, it may have been the actual first term training. So it's been a really impressive final with Lucy doing a reverse 1.5 somersault in the pike position. And it's a beautiful entry. Wow. Some very impressive. And that does conclude round 3. Just got the scoreboard that time. It's actually a really close competition with Lucy just in first spot at the moment. It's the last round of dives in the GSV finals for the diving with the junior competition. We have Amelia McDowell from Toorak College doing back somersault with 1 twist. She found it a little bit hard to stop that twist, but a really good effort for her last dive. It's nerve-wracking being in a final, but the girls have done a fantastic job, with Summer finishing her final with an inward 1.5 somersaults in the tuck position. And a lovely way to finish. Sixes and 5.5s from the judges. She's just adjusting the fulcrum. Give her a little bit more spring for her back 1.5 somersaults, half twist for Liliana. And a good way to finish, just over twisted ever so slightly, and the judges may or may not pick that up, which you can see the first round judge did pick that up. She could have just gotten a little bit more square. The judges would have rewarded that more. Got Ella Bailey from Furbank Grammar School. Seen a lot of Furbank divers competing tonight. She's finishing with a back 1.5 somersault, half twist. good way to finish, similar to the previous dive where there was just an extra little twist, and the judges don't like that very much, but a solid way to finish, and Ella can go and relax now. Got Coco Taylor doing a reverse dive. Tuck position. Very lovely entry. She's got a fantastic toe point. It's quite a simple dive, but executed very well. Got Amber doing back 1.5 somersaults, half twist. Just her legs coming slightly apart. Just going to see what the judges do with that. Some noticed it, some didn't. But well done to Amber. Got Megan doing a back somersault, 1.5 twists. What a lovely twisting action. Just needed to square it off a little bit more. The girls will get a lot out of this final. Go back and practice their dives a bit more for next year. Great entry. So Alice comes into this round ranked second. That was a reverse 1.5 somersaults, tuck, and really good scores for Alice, so she'll be happy. Got Paige from MLC doing a back 1.5 somersaults, half twist. Certainly a lot of dive to do in only 1 metre. She did it very well. And we have Lucy doing back 1.5 somersault with a 1.5 twist. She was leading the last round, so expect a strong dive from Lucy. And a fantastic way to finish. Really neat looking dive. She should be very, very happy with her efforts. We will bring up the scores very quickly. It was just so fantastic to watch the diving here tonight. All the girls did such a good job. Such a strange year last year, and now the juniors, some of these girls, is their first year of high school. And I certainly enjoyed watching it. So well done to all the girls. And we will see you back here for the GSV diving finals next year.